Alrighty, so this is RJ from HK Motorcars. I'm here today with this 2007 Porsche 911 Turbo. This is a stunning example, less than 38,000 miles, all original paint, black finish, and the paint is completely preserved in PPF. It has been tastefully modified, and I say tastefully because in my humble opinion, this is biased, but in my opinion, these are mods that I would do if this were my personal car. It's got the 19-inch HREs front and rear. It does have lowering springs, which are both reversible. This car comes with the original springs and the original wheels. It does have the 997.2 rear taillights, which, again, matter of personal preference. It detracts from the originality, but I do think they look a lot better. In the interior, it does have Porsche PCCM, so this car has Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, all very modern. And like I said, you know, sensibly done, I think, to make this car more dailyable in 2024 and just all around feel like a more modern car. And I can say, after driving this for a little bit today, you know, with the modern connectivity and everything and infotainment, you just feel like you're in a new car, which really is a testament to Porsche and how freaking ahead of the ball they always are. These cars are phenomenal. And you know, the motor is very, I mean, look at the lineage of the motor. It goes all the way back to the 90s. The motor in this car, the 3.6 liter flat six, derived from the 996 Turbo S, which in and of itself was derived from the 911 GT1 motor that won Le Mans in 1998. You know, very successful motor. And really, I think this is kind of one of the finest iterations of it because the turbo in these cars is variable vane, and we'll get into that in a little bit in the driving demo, but it actually makes a massive difference with the driving experience. You get peak torque at under 2,000 RPM. So, I mean, it really is just ballistic on the road, and these literally, I mean, fairly unassuming cars, especially in this spec with the black paint, but I mean, before you know it, you're doing well over 100 miles an hour, and I mean, like I said, you don't even realize it. So I think without further ado, let's just go ahead and get this car on the road. So inside we do have some very nice carbon fiber trim of this door sill right here around the air vents, all the way around, the gear shift, as well as the center console, the ashtray cover, the emergency brake, or parking brake rather. So let's just go ahead and start her up. Go ahead and close the door. Being on aftermarket wheels right now, you are going to see the low tire pressure warning light and the corresponding exclamation point saying there's a warning that I've canceled. It's just, you know, part of life with aftermarket wheels right there. But like I mentioned, this car does have the original wheels that came with it, which can be easily swapped back on. And they are in great shape, no curb rash or anything like that. Did also fail to mention the carbon fiber trim around the cup holders, which do work nicely. All works as it should. Let's see if I can catch the screen light. And no, I can't. The nice thing about these cup holders, they do ratchet, and actually they get fairly large. So you can put your big gulp in there, or it'll keep your pull and spring nice and taut in position, which, believe me, you're going to need if you're really going, you know, against the throttle pedal on this car. So this turbo actually has the Sport Chrono package, which is pretty crucial for this car because that allows it overboost, and I will demonstrate that once we get up on the highway. But essentially, what that does is it allows 0.2 bar overboost. A normal boost is about 1 bar at peak output. And so for 10 seconds, this car will actually give you a little bit extra juice, but it really only happens if you have to be pedal to the metal. If you're 90% throttle, you're not going to get it. And like I said, it's only 10 seconds. That being said, it does raise your peak torque from about a little under 450 to almost 500. And that's a lot. You know, it goes without saying. Obviously, this car is a lot smaller and lighter than a modern 911. It's actually 90 pounds lighter than a 996 Turbo S, despite having a little bit of a larger footprint. And that's due mostly to the increased introduction of aluminum in most of the subframes and other structures of this vehicle. So right here, we're going to go ahead and get on 684, which is a nice stretch of road. There goes a cop car speeding by. Go ahead and put her in sport mode. It really just changes the throttle mapping and shifting response. This car is quick, and it really does not feel like you're going fast. I think that's the most dangerous part about this car. It is so easy to break the law. But on the flip side, if you really want to think of it in a better light, you're being as safe as possible while doing so, because it is tough to think of a car from this era that feels more stable and more controlled at speed. I mean, it's really impressive. You know, this car is almost 20 years old. And it's quite a difference. And I think also part of the appeal is what I keep doing with my right hand. This is a 6-speed manual. It's an analog 911 turbo. You know, until the recently introduced Sport Classic, that was non-existent in the 991 and 992 generation 911s. And you know, Porsche and turbo, those are two words that have a long lineage, going all the way back to the 930, and even before that in motorsports. And you know, really, I don't think there's any more engaging driving experience than a analog, raw Porsche 911 with a little bit of turbo lag. Now, into what I was talking about before, about the variable vane technology in this turbocharger, that's something that's been around since, well, for quite some time actually. It was more often seen in turbo diesels, because diesel exhaust is not as hot as, you know, piping hot gasoline exhaust up high in the revs in a racing engine, frankly. And so simply from a metallurgical perspective, that was a little bit difficult for Porsche to achieve in terms of introducing that technology to a sports car that ran on gasoline. But they were able to do it with this car, and it literally allows your peak output of the turbo to come to life almost 2,000 revs sooner. So as opposed to the 996 Turbo S, you're getting peak output somewhere around 4,000 to 5,000 revs, you're getting it a lot lower in this car. And believe me, you really feel it, because this is an extremely responsive car to drive. And you hear the turbo coming on almost immediately. And then, you know, talking more about this car in particular, so if we set our cruise control, there we go, works fine. I can, right now I have it set to 65. I can always bump that up a little bit. Or to cancel, just bring it down like that. The air conditioning works very nicely. I have this set to 65 right now, recirculating. Or no, not recirculating, now it's recirculating. You know, it works absolutely great. Ice cold, exactly what you want to see. I always find it funny with 911s. They have like a bajillion fan settings rather than just, you know, like on a GM product, it's low, medium, high. I mean, this is really a little bit overkill, but Porsche likes to give you options. You have heated seats up front, These are your sport mode and traction control settings. This is your PSM, so Porsche Surface Management, off. Right, we'll turn that back on. Sport mode, sport suspension setting, and then which does, by the way, still work even though this car's on lowering springs. The shocks and suspension are the same. And then this is your active rear spoiler. Your windows do work nicely. The mirror controls. While we're waiting here at this red light, we do also have 3 garage door openers, map lights, dome light, another map light. This is our tilting sunroof. It also does slide back. And we gotta go now. And that is a sunroof, not a moonroof, being that there's no glass or anything in the way. Alright, we're gonna try and do a little bit of overboost here. I mean, that is ballistic. And you can see the overboost is working. We have this little PSI gauge at the bottom there showing the turbo PSI, and that when there's a little arrow at the right of it, an up arrow, that does mean that overboost is active. Like I said. A little bit of short shifting on these back roads. So there you go. That's a good rip on the back road. So I think we'll leave it there for now. If there's anything else you'd like to see, anything you think I missed, please just leave a comment in the auction comments. Or, by the way, you can feel free reach out directly via contact seller, or you can visit us at our website, hkmotorcars.com. But until then, I hope you enjoyed. If, like I said, any questions, do not hesitate to reach out. But until then, we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.